obsolete, Mr. Wordsworth.
Lie. No man is obsolete.
It's a cookbook.
Who are we?
When will they take the bandages?
You're a bad man. You're a very bad man.
Mrs. Lemonsucker here. He's the most suspicious of the bunch.
My name is Tommy Tina, and I'm beginning to hate you.
I believe you're going my way.
Live from Willoughby at the heart of the Twilight Zone. Here are your hosts, Alex and Tyler, the prestigiously perfect podcast in which we call The Twilight Gnome.
What is up, Gnomies? I'm Alex.
And I'm Tyler.
Welcome to the Twilight Gnome Podcast, episode 55. Unfortunately, what episode are we going to be discussing this week, Ty?
This week we are doing The Encounter.
Season 5, episode 31. This was written by Martin Goldsmith. He did 2 Twilight Zones. He wrote this and What's in the Box, both stinkers.
I don't remember What's in the Box that much. I think it was like there was like a gift that an alien brought down or something.
No, that's called The Gift.
Oh, I keep thinking
What's in the
that.
Box is about a TV repairman played by the voice of Pooh Bear, and it shows like the future. It's pretty much a rehash of An Unusual Camera.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
It's
don't think I've
pretty
ever seen that
crappy.
one.
And this was directed by Robert Butler, who did 2 Twilight Zones as well. He obviously did this, The Encounter, and Caesar and Me. Still a bad episode, but a lot funner than this.
Because Caesar and Me is the worst version of the dummy, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
The episode The Dummy, definitely, with your main man there, Uncle Ben from 100 Yards Over the Rim. That one's a lot better. You'll see when Caesar and Me is good because it kind of is so bad and funny, but
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, it's a mafia puppet. It's kind of already kind of humorous idea.
all right, Ty, we'll jump right into it. What was your favorite moment, if possible, from this episode?
My favorite moment was one particular line. So it's when the door is locked and... Do you have the same line?
I
I
wonder.
don't know what I mean.
Yes, that was my favorite.
That was my favorite moment because it's like, did the writers just write that?
What did you mean? I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like that perfectly sums up this entire episode.
That's so fucking fun. I have that written down as my favorite moment.
See, sometimes we really connect on things like, and then other times completely the opposite. But this is one of those cases where it just, I just laughed out loud. I was like, that's either like really bad writing. Like, why did the character say this?
I
don't know.
And it, like you said, it perfectly sums up this episode. Why did you write this? I don't know.
Like, just no clear direction at all. But
I guess we'll get into it more when we get into it, but not the direction from the director, but from a writer's point of view, like where they were going, it makes no sense for Arthur to be like the son of one, like what has nothing to do with him. Why is he being
Exactly.
punished for this?
It's just all so messy and convoluted and not clear at all what they're trying to say.
We have the technology to rebuild it.
Doctor, what have you created?
I am, for all intent and purposes, AI Serling.
So every week I put a prompt into ChatGPT, come up with a Rod Serling style intro, and I read it while Tyler stares out the window.
I promise I will pay attention this week.
All right. Perfect episode for it. Meet Mr. Fenton, a man whose war never truly ended, though the world around him has long since moved on. Today, while he's cleaning his attic, he receives an unexpected visitor, Arthur Takamori, a polite young neighbor offering to mow his lawn, but fate has other plans. When the attic door shuts behind them, they are not just trapped in a room, but in the past itself, where an old war souvenir, a samurai sword, waits to awaken unfinished business. And before this day is through, Mr. Fenton will learn that some battles refuse to stay buried here in the Twilight Zone.
So much better writing than the actual writing of this episode.
So every week, Tyler and I come up with a few questions for each other, keep each other on our toes while watching said episode. This week, I actually did my 3.
I did 3, but it was a real struggle again. I was trying to think of like, okay, like what object is next to this other object? Like there's, I was trying hard to think of those, but I couldn't really.
All right, it's an even, so go for it.
Well, you're evens.
I mean, it's an odd episode.
It is an odd episode. Okay, yeah. How many beer cans are shown on top of the trunk in the opening shot?
4.
3.
Damn it. So close. How many beers does Fenton rock during the whole episode?
4.
I counted like 12 since
Really?
there was 12 empty cans by the end.
Did you notice that the cans? I kept trying to read the labels on them, and like sometimes they'd be upside down, and other times they wouldn't.
I tried to read what it was. I don't think it was an actual beer because I think everyone was rocking like Schlitz back then. I believe was like the beer of choice, kind of like the Bud Light or Coors.
But in terms of like the props though, the prop beers kept like sometimes they'd hold them upside down.
Really?
Yeah, because I kept trying to read it, and then the wording, like the letters, would be upside down sometimes, but then other times it'd be flipped right side up.
I kind of like the looks of the old 60s cans because they didn't have like the tab like a normal beer can or a soda can would have.
They remind me of like a juice, like if you get like a can
Like
of
a pineapple
pineapple
juice,
juice. Yeah.
For sure.
All right, my next one. Where did Arthur grow up?
In Hawaii.
I'm looking
Like
for the
in
city.
Honolulu?
Honolulu, there you go.
Did you know apparently this whole episode is supposed to take place in Hawaii? But I don't remember them stating that or alluding to that they were there but it does. It says even on IMDb it says in a Hawaii house or whatever, which I guess makes sense, but
I mean, we know that.
we never see outside.
Yeah, we never see outside to confirm that's Hawaii, but I mean, I guess it makes sense because that's where Arthur's from, so he just stayed in Hawaii.
I guess so, but I thought that was weird.
Also
never
makes sense because I mean, like they're in an attic and they're sweating balls, so
Yeah. But everyone does in the Twilight Zone, it seems like.
all those camera lights on him.
How old was Arthur during Pearl Harbor, the attack?
He was 4.
Correct.
What day of the week did Arthur say?
Wednesday.
Nope, it was Sunday.
Mowing the lawn?
No,
Oh.
You didn't let me
I
finish.
thought
You
I
just
was
started
gonna-
answering the
I
question.
know.
What day of the week did Arthur say it was when Pearl Harbor was attacked?
Was
You
it
just,
Sunday?
you just, it was Wednesday.
I thought I would get one on you, but I just looked like a jackass. How much did he offer to mow the lawn for every month?
$7.
Correct. It'd be like
Is that cheap?
$71 today.
A week?
A month. So
month?
71
That's-
divided by 4.
Not terrible.
What is that? Like $15 every time he comes to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on
How big the lawn
How big
is.
the lawn is. Did he have other people around there? But it seems kind of cheap.
It's probably like a big neighborhood, so I'd imagine like it's easy to go from one lawn to the next.
True. All right, we will jump right into the plot of this bad boy, and I mean bad boy. We start on Mr. Fenton. He is in the attic going through some boxes. He sees a samurai sword. He looks it over and chucks it. And then we hear, hello? And he's like, anyone home? And
Has a bad echo effect too.
it was pretty odd, but I think it was just because, like, if you stood away over there right now and did the same thing, the condenser microphone has that type of sound to it.
Oh.
But it is Arthur, and he's down there, and he's saying, I let myself in because the door was open.
And yeah. First off, letting yourself into a house that's not yours that you don't know the owner of. Oh, the door was open, so I just walked into this stranger's house. Like that's kind of creepy. Also, the safari hat. What's that about?
I mean, I guess it'd probably be hot if they are in Hawaii and it's summertime.
I don't know. Just maybe those hats were fashionable at one point. They just looks very like 1850s explorer and.
Nigel Thornberry.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
But he asks Mr. Fenton if he would like his lawn mowed every Wednesday for $7, and Fenton says, yeah, sounds good. And he's like, do you want to make some extra money? Do you want to give me a hand cleaning up here, boy? And already just being, like, I don't know if that's like a fucking big dick move or, like, I don't know.
Yeah, he's just already starting to. He wants to start shit and just belittle people. You can tell he's already drunk, and like maybe when he's drunk, he's acting more of an ass. But yeah, he just seems like that kind of person that just likes to poke the bear and be very confrontational.
I'll play a little bit of that because they hit you with their relationship right off the bat.
Why Arthur?
Why not? I was born in this country.
Sure, I didn't mean anything.
I'm as just as much American as anybody.
Well, now, who said you're not? You're too darn sensitive.
Truth is, my name is Taro. I changed it.
A rose is a rose. Get what I mean?
No.
Neither do I. I guess he's saying freaking,
He's a
it
rose
doesn't
by
matter what name you would be called. You're still like a dirty Jap to me, apparently.
I don't.
That's what I'm getting out of it.
I'm getting it as why change your name at all? A rose by any other name? I think he was trying to quote Shakespeare. I would imagine, or like a rose by any other name.
I don't know. The whole thing is very strange. But anyway, his Mr. Fenton says, "Hey, check out this my old war jacket. I used to be tough. Check it out. Check out me." It says that. Check out my fruit salad.
I was trying to remember the phrase. I thought it was like check out my lettuce, but yeah, it was fruit
Check out
salad.
my fruit salad. He's like, you ever seen one of these, Arthur? And he shows him the sword. Pulls out his penis.
For those of you who don't know what a fruit salad is in the Urban Dictionary term, it's...
What's a fruit basket?
Oh, okay. Well, then
Totally wrong.
totally different. Never mind then.
Check out my fruit salad. Oh, God, what happened?
Why is
mangled?
It's all chopped up.
He shows Arthur his sword, Giggity. And he's like, maybe you can translate it. And Arthur's like, I don't speak Japanese. And he's like, oh, yeah? Well, I got to go get a beer. Then he leaves Arthur upstairs. Arthur picks up the sword. And it's so weird. I'm going to kill him.
Yeah, out of
I'm
nowhere.
gonna kill him.
Like, I
That
get...
guy's a dick, but...
I think from rewatching it, it's supposed to be that the soul of the sword owner
Yes.
embodies, like, gets into his body.
That's
and that's
definitely-
that guy talking, but they don't show it at all very well. Like, it just more seems like Arthur's just gone crazy, and all of a sudden, like, I'm going to kill this man.
Yeah, like you'd think they'd show like a close-up shot of like the sword to be like, yeah, this is the supernatural, this is the Twilight Zone-y object here.
Yeah, or like maybe show like Arthur's eyes like glowing as if he just got possessed or something for a second. I don't know, something to make a clear indication as to the possession. And then after he says I'm going to kill him,
Why?
he says why. There's so many people ask why in this episode, and that's a great question.
And then after that, Rod brings us in.
Two men alone in an attic. A young Japanese American and a seasoned veteran of yesterday's war. It's 20-odd years since Pearl Harbor, but two ancient opponents are moving into position for a battle in an attic, crammed with skeletons, souvenirs, mementos, old uniforms, and rusted metals. Ghosts from the dim reaches of the past that will lead us into the Twilight Zone.
Not much of an ancient rivals, as he stated there.
Yeah.
Like Japan's pretty old, but America at this point, I mean, this is still only like 70 years from us, but it was only like not even 200 years old
Yeah,
yet.
hadn't reached the 200th birthday yet. Yeah.
These ancient opponents. I think this was the only time we ever fought with Japan, but okay. But anyway, Fenton comes up with his beer. You want a beer, boy? It's just such a fucking...
He actually calls him by the wrong name, too. He says, you want a beer, Taro? And he's like, oh, sorry, forgot Arthur. It's like, I feel like Arthur would be the easier of the names for him to remember.
Which, if you didn't want him calling you Taro, why would you tell him that your name was Taro and that you changed it in the first place?
There's a lot of times where, like, people will say something and then immediately retract it in this episode. Like, later on, both of them lie and then retract their lie immediately.
Arthur tells him again that he's not a boy, and Fenton pretty much has the exact same thing as I played. He says, yeah, you're too sensitive again. And here. And then Arthur apologizes. I'm sorry, it must just be the hot sun out here. And they bonsai, which I didn't know. That's like the cheers?
I don't know if that's accurate either. Like, I've never heard of people saying bonsai for a cheers in Japan. I didn't look it up, but I want to look it up later.
They drink, and Fenton's like, now where's my sword? Things always kind of scared me. I've been trying to lose it for years. Do you want it?
And I like that he clarifies that it's not that it's like magic in that he places it places like Talking Tina in a trash can and then it magically appears back in his attic, but it's more just that nobody wants to take it off his hands. Like tries to throw it away. Trash man won't take it, and then like
anyone would want a samurai sword. It's badass,
right? I think
unless it has a creepy, eerie vibe.
But I think the idea of it that it's a Twilight Zone item, so like, he can't physically get rid of it.
Arthur says, no, I don't want it. What would I do with it? And Fenton's like, probably give it to me, the pointy end first.
That joke took a second for me to get to when they first said it. I was like, what do they mean? Like, why would you give a sword back immediately after getting it?
And then Fenton says, you know, I actually do know what the sword says. I had it translated.
And it says, the sword will avenge me.
And then Fenton goes into this whole, you know, I worked really hard. I drove a cat.
You know what a cat is? Yeah, it's an animal.
Obviously, it's like a caterpillar. He's probably drives an excavator or a loader or something. But then he tells him it's a lot harder than mowing lawns, which sitting in the cab of an excavator and mowing lawn, which I do both.
I say you've done both. You can fairly
it's a lot
say which
easier being in the cab of a loader or an excavator than, especially, I would imagine Arthur is push mowing.
Yeah, it's probably not a ride and lower back in those days.
No, especially for $7, it would go up quite a bit.
Yeah.
But he tells him how hard he's worked and pretty much just kind of.
And he's complaining that he lost his job, and he's like, it wasn't because of the drinking. I just had a few beers that day. I was driving a fully equipped machine that weighed tons.
Right. Now he says, now where's the sword, Toro? And he's like, are you afraid of me? I was a killing machine back in the day. And then he has like a weird like Nam flashback there. You just
Yeah, you can
hear
hear
voices.
the jungle sounds in the background. I actually liked the addition of like for both flashbacks we get little like sound clips that are like going on while they're talking. I did enjoy that. It was kind of fun.
And then after that he goes, dirty son of heaven, just hanging out in the jungle. They were asking for it. Like, what the fuck,
Like, that's
dude?
where they lived.
They were asking for it. Arthur grabs the sword and they dance.
They dance.
Pretty much. Arthur pulls out the samurai sword and Fenton pulls out his trench knife from his thing, and they kind of have like a standoff.
The first time I was watching it too, I didn't really catch what Fenton was holding. It looked so small. I thought it was like a gun or something. Because I was like, well, obviously gun beats sword. But then I realized upon second rewatch, I was like, oh, it's like a small dagger.
It's a trench knife, has the brass knuckles, the thing. Fenton eats shit and just, wait. Come on, we weren't being serious, right?
It was only
Because
going
you
to be
ate shit,
serious if
asshole.
I was winning.
That one was pretty fun. I was just telling you how it was. And then even Arthur's like, I don't know what got into me. I'll play a little bit of this.
You didn't get that sword the way you said you did.
No?
No. You shot that officer after he surrendered.
You're crazy.
That Japanese officer dropped the sword and surrendered. You killed him in cold blood.
All right, so what if I did? So what if I did?
I don't know. That's your problem.
Arthur tries to leave.
Again, they didn't do a great job of kind of showing like a possession by an item, because obviously Arthur knows the facts of the events of Mr. Fenton's life because the sword
Told him somehow.
Yeah, somehow told him or like possessed him in that moment. But like it's
Like,
just
they could have showed a close-up of the sword and like a
or
something.
Or even like with the shoes in Dead Man's Shoes, like when he puts them on, his total mannerism absolutely changes. They could have done something like that where like when
he
he's
just gets more serious, like,
yeah, he's like somehow more like the soldier that died back in the war than he is like Arthur.
especially when he's holding it or something. That would
Yeah, like if it was like a touch sort of thing, or I don't know. The way they kind of do this is just very messy.
for sure. Arthur tries to leave, but the door is locked. And he's like, Mr. Fenton, get down here. What's going on? Did you lock this? No. And he pretty much tells him he's a pussy. No, you're just a pussy.
You're not strong enough to open that door.
Here, let me try. Fenton can't even do it. And looks like you're not supposed to leave yet.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Perfect. Fenton says, come up here, come try and help me find some tools, see if you can see a screwdriver or whatever. He's like, we'll break the window last resort if we have to.
I like how he says that because he notices Arthur staring out the window, and he's like, he's probably thinking to break the window to get out.
A little foreshadowing, too.
Right? Yeah.
Arthur picks up the sword again. He's like, you come at me like that again, I'll slice you up. And then Arthur gets mad. Don't talk to me like that. And then he tells, I got a short fuse, buddy, which is always saying that just so cringy. I got a short fuse, like the firecracker, baby.
I guess I've never met anyone in real life that's used that expression.
I've met quite a few Timmy Tough Nuts. I got a short fuse. But anyway, he tries to pull that one off.
And then he starts diving into his backstory and how his father worked for
He was a dock worker, essentially.
back in Hawaii just before Pearl Harbor, and then he gets a very similar flashback where he has the sounds kind of going during his monologue. You can hear like the planes coming and stuff.
And he says, my dad tried to warn the sailors. He tried to warn them. They circled overhead, and then he kind of is like doing his bah, 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 and I'll play a little bit of this because
It's a meme.
it was a lie.
That's not the way it happened. He was a traitor. He signaled the planes. He showed them where to drop the bombs. He was a traitor. My old man was a traitor. I gotta get out of here.
I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of
Jump
here.
out the window again.
Again, like you said, foreshadowing. Right. But the whole like telling a story and then immediately saying, actually, I just lied. That's happened already in the Twilight Zone that we've gone through so far. I can't think of which exact one, but I hate this trope. Like, why? Why would you have a character tell a lie and then immediately confess to the lie?
Nah, I'm gonna get caught anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It's like...
But anyway, Fenton's just like, Arthur, come on, get over here. You just need a beer. Fenton tells him the story of how his wife just left him. I don't know, maybe I drink too much. It's been rough lately. I got fired just because I had a couple of drinks driving heavy machinery. But it's just those damn foreigners' fault.
Cannot take any responsibility for his actions, because then I think it's a few moments later that he says, like, I'm not a bad guy. It's like, well, it sounds like your wife hates you and you got fired for being a drunk, so maybe there's some things in your life you could probably fix.
He's like, but my wife says she'll be back, and if not, who needs her?
Women are a dime a dozen anyway.
Arthur grabs the sword yet again, and then while he has the sword, Fenton's kind of like even making him madder, because he's like, don't take it so hard because your dad was a fucking coward traitor. Like,
just
like
really rubbing it in. Like,
doesn't mean you are.
Fenton's definitely the type of person that just really loves poking the bear, and he just really loves to get at Arthur's goat, and then Arthur just does not take his shit.
No, Arthur's like, no, you were the traitor. You killed that Japanese lieutenant. Which, I don't know if that's a traitor. It's a fucking dick move, but not a traitor.
Also, probably against the Geneva Convention? I don't know.
He's like, it's not my fault. The government said you guys weren't human, some subspecies of ape that lived in the jungle. And he's like, we were told to not leave any man behind or whatever, leave people alive.
Yeah. And then because he ends it off with saying, like, I was just following orders.
And he's like, Arthur, please, my wife left me. Go on, kill me, I dare you to. And I'll play a little bit of this.
You're just trying to scare me. All right. I'm scared. But not of dying. Of living. I've got a box full of decorations over there. Decorations! First you're an ape. And now all of a sudden you're some kind of highly cultured people. I've been pushed and pulled this way and that way until I hate everybody. You dirty little Jap.
And then they fight.
I don't get the line where he's talking about his decorations, like, I just want to die. I have too many decorations in my attic.
I'm pretty sure he's talking about his war decorations.
Oh, I was thinking like Christmas decorations.
Got too much Christmas shit up here. This is bullshit.
I was just like, this man is just so emotionally unstable. He's just like talking about like one thing and then immediately swings over to, and all my Christmas decorations. There's so much clutter up here.
No, he's talking about his war decorations.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, it does. They fight. Fenton kind of falls a little bit towards his sword. Arthur pulls him, and in doing so, the blade is thrust right into Fenton.
They didn't even show the whole shot. I'm gonna complain about the art style on this case. Not shown well at all. Like, obviously, I get you probably couldn't show someone physically getting stabbed, but like it still even wasn't well. The first time I watched, I'd like pause and rewind. I was like, "What happened? Did you just fall over?"
Yeah, it definitely was odd. It didn't really, like you said, they weren't going to show that much gruesome violence, but there's definitely a way you could have portrayed that he got stabbed a lot better.
Yeah.
Arthur pulls the blade out of him and jumps out the window and yells, "Bonsai!"
Probably like the only part of the episode that stuck with me. Like, I knew that was going to happen, but I didn't really remember the rest of the plot at all.
And then Rod brings us out. Is it brings us out or takes us out?
Either way, takes us out might sound like he's killing us, but technically that is correct. But also before that, we see, or maybe while he's talking, we see the door open. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Two men in an attic, locked in mortal embrace. Their common bond and their common enemy, guilt. A disease all too prevalent amongst men, both in and out of the Twilight Zone.
And like you said, which shows the door opening, which I had already clocked out at this point and didn't really care that, like, yeah, okay, the Twilight Zone.
The Rod's last line about like trying to make this episode about guilt, like I feel like he was trying to wrap it up with a bow, but at this point it was like, it's just the message was already so muddy. I don't know.
All right, and that was our episode, Tyler. What did you learn?
I learned if you're ever trapped in an attic, you can jump out the window by yelling bonsai.
Let's see you do it right now out the window.
Actually, the scene I'm actually looking at, because we are kind of in an attic, and there's a window right in front of me just like it. It's
perfect.
Yeah.
All right, we'll jump into ratings. IMDb has that at a 7.1 out of 10, which is fucking ridiculous.
What's the lowest it could get on IMDb? I mean, could it technically get a 0 on IMDb?
I would imagine it can.
Oh.
But the lowest Twilight Zone episode is like a 5.6, and I believe that was The Bard. I'll let you go first.
You think I like it more?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to give this episode a 4. I don't get it. It was just like, had no point. The characters' actions didn't make any sense. They lie and then immediately turn around and tell the truth. I was so confused by the message. I clearly had something to do with about like guilt, but just the writing was all over the place. It was not clear or concise, and just characters didn't make any sense.
I'm giving this a 2.
Wow.
This is the lowest I've ever given. This is, without a doubt, so far what we've seen, my least favorite. A lot of the same reasons you said. The acting was pretty decent from both parties, but just the writing in this, it makes no sense. Arthur, it should have been someone who actually was there for Pearl Harbor. Like, he was just a little kid. He had nothing to do with this, so why is he being punished in this way, which makes no sense? Like, I get, like, bringing 2 war rivals, but he wasn't a veteran of the war, so it makes no sense having Arthur there.
Yep.
And it's just so all over the place. Like, I get the message that it's trying to say about, like, the hate and the prejudice and stuff like that, but it just feels so unearned. And when it gets to a point where it's actually trying to say something about hate and prejudice, it's like the writer, especially like in the 60s, was probably like, oh, we're making the white man look too bad, and then they like turned it around.
Yeah.
Everything about this just sucks. It's not really Twilight Zone, even though apparently there's a sword that's Twilight Zone, but it never shows it. It's just dog shit.
Yeah, I agree.
Who are they? Where are they? What are they? Let's find out together in the Twilight Gnome presents Inside the Twilight Zone.
All right, so this week, as you probably could have ascertained yourself, there's only 2 actors.
Which you said is only happened 3 times, right?
4.
4.
So we have Neville Brand. He played Mr. Fenton. He was in lots of movies in the 50s and lots of TV from the late 50s to the mid 80s, but nothing really that stood out to me. He did play the bad guy in Love Me Tender, the Elvis movie, which was pretty cool. I've never seen any of them, but I love Elvis. And apparently he owned one of the biggest private libraries in the world at the time. He owned over 30,000 books at one point.
Huh. It wouldn't have caught me as a reader.
But. He struggled with PTSD hardcore because he was actually in the war and was a heavy drinker. But I guess that might have been a way that he coped or something.
Yep.
And then, of course, we have George Takei. I got a lot more on him, obviously. He played Arthur. He played Sulu in all the Star Trek stuff. Over 250 credits to his name, and they span, obviously he's still alive, so like from the 50s to present day. His is pretty astonishing here. He's done a lot of voice work. He was in Futurama, a couple episodes of The Simpsons, Archer, Family Guy, Big Bang Theory, the movie or the TV show Heroes. He plays Phoebe's dad, the voice of Phoebe's dad in Hey Arnold. He's in Mulan, One Playhouse 90.
Who was he in Mulan?
It said one of the ancestors.
Oh, okay. Yep. Remember that.
A little bit of trivia on him. He was actually imprisoned in an internment camp with his family after Pearl Harbor in real life when he was 4 years old.
Wow.
This episode was out of syndication until the New Year's Eve marathon in 2016 because a lot of people obviously had
that I did know. I knew that this one had been pulled for a very long time.
And this is one of the 4 episodes that only has 2 cast members. The other ones are A Game of Pool, 2, and Nervous Man in a $4 Room. In total, this episode cost $42,577, and the director received $1,500, and the cast received $4,334, which is insane for 2 people.
Yeah,
it didn't get into it in the book on.
Was George Takei already on Star Trek at this point?
I believe no. Star Trek didn't start till like 1968.
Okay. Because I was going to say, maybe then that would explain the high budget.
And I have another little cameo. George Takei played a Canamet in the 2019 reboot in the last episode of Season 2, which is a pretty good one. It has a girl that plays Jillian from Boardwalk Empire in there.
Never seen that show.
And she keeps getting abducted by Canamets at night. It's pretty cool.
They didn't eat her the first night they abducted her?
But that is it for trivia inside the Twilight Zone.
What'd you say your name was?
What's in the name, Mr. Benniger, really? It's a mere question of semantics. Just language. A mere stretch of words.
So every week, Tyler and I come up with a few alternative titles to the episode we are watching. I came up with 4.
I also have 4.
All right. You want to go first?
Sure, I'll start with my debacle. I got the drunken disorderly debacle.
I just have the drunken debacle.
Yep. I got attack in the attic.
I have let's clean the attic.
I have the sword will avenge me.
I have something's not right upstairs.
And I have all-consuming guilt.
I have Arthur in Racist Land through the attic glass.
I like your third one there. Something's not right upstairs.
Something's not right upstairs.
That's a clever name. I like that one.
That the winner?
Yep.
All right, perfect. Switcheroos. I literally have written down here, I won't even demean another episode by comparing it or having it with the title.
Oh, I have 6.
All right, let's hear them.
All right, I got Execution, People Are Alike All Over, Judgment Night, The Whole Truth, The Jeopardy Room, and this one's a little slight tweak on the original name, Mr. Fenton on Doomsday.
Yeah, all pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, it may be better, it may be worse. The Twilight Zone did it first.
All right, so not many references this week. As Alex stated earlier, this episode had been pulled for a very long time, so I don't think it was a source of inspiration for many people, but it was used in a couple things. So it was featured in a documentary called To Be Takai. It also made several appearances in different Watch Mojo lists, including the top 10 banned episodes and top 10 controversial episodes. Also, Katana from Suicide Squad, she traps souls of her victims inside of her sword, so kind of similar there, where this kind of had a sword and a soul possession sort of thing going on there.
Yep.
And the only other one I got is that just it's generally an old trope of swords kind of having their own souls and having their own wills. I see that pop up a lot in various stories throughout time. But
The wand chooses the wizard, Mr. Potter. It's not always clear why.
But yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Well, every week, Tyler picks the episodes, and he does so by showing me an AI-generated picture. I play a little game where I got to guess what it is. Now, he has promised me it's going to be a good one, and a real good one, apparently.
A very good one.
And now we just finished our run of all the seasons, so it could be any season. And are we in a run of...
Yes.
We're going back to our original format?
Starting with our next episode, the next 5 will go back to the original format of all 5 categories.
All right. Do you want to remind the audience in case they're new listeners?
Yes. So we have Death, Other, Alien, Future, and Time.
For the first, 20 episodes or so, we stayed to that formula, but then we quickly realized we are going to run out of Alien ones because there's only, 12 Alien episodes or 16?
Our first 25 episodes, we followed that formula, but then there's only 16 Alien episodes. There's maybe 17 or 18 future ones and 20-something time travel ones. So those ones are a lot less, which is why we had to do a lot of Death Other. But yes, we're finally, on a temporary basis, moving back to all 5. So the next block of 5 will have all 5 categories.
Perfect. All right, show me. I don't even have a guess because it could be anything.
All right, you ready?
Yep. Is it Nick of Time?
It's Nick of Time.
All right. I almost said it, but then I was like, Mystic Seed. I guess he's the Mystic Seed.
It's literally called Mystic Seed.
All right.
Yeah.
The better, I guess, of the Shatner episodes.
He only has 2, right?
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan. Like I said, I don't know. It's been a long time. I hate to sound like a hipster douche about cause not liking it because everyone else likes it. But
it's a good, fun episode.
I'm saying Nightmare.
Oh, Nightmare at 20,000 feet. Yeah, I don't. That one just creeps me out. I don't like the gremlin on the wing. It just looks like a Bigfoot.
I guess there's nothing like Bigfoot.
It's just creepy.
All right, next week a really big one, Nick of Time.
Yep.
Hopefully
Also, do you notice back-to-back Star Trek characters?
Oh yeah, George Takei and
Takei into
is Leonard Nimoy one, The Quality of Mercy, the next one after that?
maybe. I guess we'll just have to see.
Did you go for it? Did you even think, like, fuck, should have done a Star Trek run? All right, next week, The Nick of Time. I'm sure that one will be a very well-watched one, which reminds me, we are so close to 100 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. We're at like 93 right now. Our goal is to get 100 real soon, and it looks like we're going to get that. We'll be on track for that. And we are very close to like 10,000 views in total for our whole YouTube channel, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
We really appreciate it, guys. It means the world to us that you listen to us and like and comment and all that stuff. Even some of the comments that accuse us of being clickbait, apparently.
We're not a clickbait show.
We're not fucking clickbait. Yeah, so if you guys could please continue to like and subscribe. It means the world to us. If you have any questions, you can email us at twilightgnome59@gmail.com. And if you could go over to the Facebook page, give that a like and a follow, and leave us some comments. We love it. We read all of those, and we really appreciate you guys. Until then, Tyler, my final question for you. Should this episode be remade?
No.
All right, well, next week we have something very extraordinary to look forward to. Nick of Time, a huge fan favorite, and it'll be our 56, which is a pretty big number.
Do you think they 56? Everyone loves
Doesn't
a
mean
classic
anything.
number. They must sell like those little replicas of the little Mystic Seers, I would imagine, right? Because I noticed
for sure.
You have like little knickknacks around here. You have like a couple of action figures of like different well-known stuff, and you have pop figures. I would imagine they must.
They must have the Nick of Time Mystic Seer for sure.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be one of the classic.
I haven't
things
seen
to
this in a minute. Like I said, for some reason, the two Shatner episodes, I just don't really care for, but we'll see.
This one's always stood out as, I think, if not top 10, at least top 20 for me.
All right, next week, the Nick of Time, guys. Thank you for sitting through us on this episode.
Sitting through us?
You sat through us, yes, in the fifth dimension. Did you guys enjoy the encounter? Maybe this is someone's like favorite, and they're like, "You fucking cocksucker!"
Yeah, and they're like, you guys are just shitting on my favorite episode. If so, leave us a comment.
Yeah, but anyway, until then, Tyler, do you have anything to say to our dear listeners?
Yes, thank you all for stepping in the Twilight Gnome with us.
It's 4 o'clock